Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the relationships of angles within a rhombus. The first point worthy of mentioning is that co-interior angles are equal. So what does this mean? We're going to make this a lot easier by extending some of the lines within our rhombus. So when we say co-interior angles, we are referring to these angles that are formed by the transversal, which in our case is the diagonal, and the two parallel lines. And as you can see from the markings on the diagram, these two angles are most definitely equal. Another characteristic that's worth mentioning is about adjacent angles. So when we're saying adjacent angles, we're referring to these smaller angles that are created by the diagonal. So if you know the true meaning of the diagonal, it is to bisect these angles. So we know that bisect means that it cuts in half, so these two angles, adjacent angles, are equal. The final characteristic of these angles that is very important regards opposite angles. So when we're talking about opposite angles, we're referring to these two larger angles. And think with my usual pattern, we're just going to use angles D and B. So if you know what a diagonal is, it connects two points that are not already connected by a line. So A and B could not be a diagonal, while D and B and A and C could. So we're going to be looking at diagonal DB. So as we learned earlier, adjacent angles are two equal angles, and since these diagonals are cutting both of these lines in half at the same angle, these opposite angles are equal. And that's a wrap.